You guys put on an incredible live show, so what do you do beforehand to prepare?
Not really anything, I'll be honest with you. I used to have rituals, and then I sort of broke myself from the rituals of playing live. And on the Descendants tour, this goes back to '97 when we were on tour with the Descendants, I learned a bad habit of peeing in a cup from their roadie, Bugface. And he was like, fuck going to the bathroom, you're right here on deck, just go behind the guitar, rack over there and just piss in a cup. So I learned that bad habit. So for years, like 9, 10, 11 years, I had that habit and I broke myself with that habit. But I warm up, obviously, drink a lot of water, but besides that, I don't have many rituals to hit the stage.
It's really good that you dropped that one, though. It seems like it was pretty unhygienic.
It's not really that unhygienic. If I was pooping in a cup,
what if you were? But then it's just sitting there, and then somebody tries to drink it.
I mean, I would throw it out. I wouldn't leave it around. Leaving it around would be too weird. But with that said, yes, I broke the habit. I'm better for it. There's no doubt.
Oh, can you tell me anything about what would have inspired the song "Look What Happened"? It's my personal favorite.
Oh. So you want? I'll give you. You want the long one or the short one?
The long one.
Okay. So on Borders and Boundaries, the beginning of that, right, has this sort of Japanese sort of clock that goes off, right?
Sure.
If you pay attention to it, it's right in the head of you hear the Japanese thing. But the full title originally of that song was "Look What Happened to Hiroshima Taro."
Oh.
Right. So, but the producer and the rest of the dudes in the band were like, no one knows who Hiroshima Taro is, and it's going to kind of confuse people and be weird, so just shorten it down to "Look What Happened." So Hiroshima Taro, right? So Japanese folklore, and basically he was a fisherman and threw a net out and got this gigantic turtle, and the turtle goes, "If you let me go, I'll take you down to where I'm from. You'll never age, you'll never get sick, and you'll be happy. Everything that you want is there for you." And fisherman's like, how can I not do this? So he goes down with the turtle, sets the turtle free, goes down with the turtle to his world, lives there, but he doesn't know how long it really is because there's no calendars and there's no clocks. And he meets a princess down there, and he marries the princess, and he starts to kind of go, I really miss my village, and I really miss my parents and my brothers. I want to go back up, to above the water. And the princess goes, if you leave, you can never come back, and I can't go with you. And he goes, well, I have to go. So he goes back up. He realizes that it's been 200 plus years that he's been gone, that his village turned into a big metropolis city, that his family's gone. And so when he goes back, he has nothing. So the moral to the story is that the grass is not necessarily always greener on the other side of where you're at, and you should be happy in the moment and where you're at. So if you look at the lyrical content of it, it's all about bitching about leaving, right? About leaving town and being frustrated in who you are and how you grew up and your friends and your family and the town that you live in. But the point of the story is you can bitch about it, but don't really look on the other side of the fence, because sometimes on the other side of the fence it's not so right. You should be happy where you're at.
That's an incredible story, and I would have never guessed it. How could I?
There it is. There it is.
Wow. All right, so on a totally different topic, you started your own label, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So what is it like to be on both sides of the industry?
See, I've always been on both sides of the industry because, when first started Less Than Jake, I started a record label also. So as Less Than Jake went through a bunch of punk rock record labels like No Idea and Asian Man, when we finally got on a major label, which was Capitol Records, EMI, later Warner Brothers, I still had been working on another label. So for me, I've always sat on both sides of the fence of being involved in a label and being in a band. So it's definitely an interesting relationship, whether you're a creator or whether you market the creation. So I've always kind of sat in the middle of that.
Does it make things any easier to understand?
It makes it easier to understand, but it makes it more complicated to have to explain it to other people that you create with. You know what I mean? So it's like when you go, this thing right here, this marketing thing, it's not going to work for us. It would work for a band who is 19 years old, but it's not going to work for a band of dudes that are in their 30s. You know, and sometimes that's a hard conversation to have amongst people who want, like myself as a creator, want everything that's a lot of them. We want to have everybody under the sun be able to hear Less Than Jake. But sometimes things are just not the right thing to do. You know, so it's always proves to be interesting to be on both sides of the fence. And with Sleep It Off, and that's the Less Than Jake's label, it's owned by the five of us, so it's generated by the five of us. So it makes things slightly easier, but sometimes that, like, there's always a little bit of one or two things that you kind of go, it's kind of weird. But for the most part, it's cool to be able to be in control of everything that we do.
Yeah, it's a luxury. Now, you've talked before about bands being disposable and fading away. You guys have been a pretty constant, steady influence. So what do you think allows you to do that and sets you apart?
I don't know. You know, it's the egotistical side of me would say that we have good songs, you know, and we have songs that people can sort of latch onto, you know, but the other side of me thinks that we were just around at the right time when there was a lot less static in the world, you know. So I think that when Less Than Jake started, and this is really kind of fucked up to say, but when Less Than Jake first started, the internet was just typed pages on a black and white screen. There was no pictures, there was no anything. It was basically like the internet was bulletin boards, basically, for all intents and purposes, right? But that's a weird concept, you know what I mean? Like, we started prior to it sort of being this multimedia boom, so I think that the starting point of Less Than Jake allows us, and has allowed us, to maintain this float where people who've come 5 years ago, it's hard to break through that static, and once you do, you're only breaking through to the people that only pay attention to the static. You get what I mean?
Yeah. It becomes harder too, almost. It's easier with the internet, but it's almost harder because everybody has a presence.
It's definitely infinite choices that you have. And not only is it TV, the internet, it's just the multimedia sort of sensory overload that's going on right now. It's hard for young bands, it's hard to break through. But when they do break through big, but it's also appealing to the same people that continually, you know, devour that information. It's definitely, it's a cool thing, you know, and I'm sure there'll be a study on it 10, 15, 20 years from now about it, but I think that there's the right place, right time of Less Than Jake, and there's also, I think that we've tried to maintain the quality of song and the quality of the live music factor in the live show.
Yeah, that's really important. There's a lot of bands that the recordings are great, and then you see them live, and it's like, it's so disappointing.
I agree.
But what's something that fans might be surprised to know about you, not just as a part of the band, but as an individual?
Oh, let's go back to the record label thing. I started Feel by Ramen.
Really? I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. There it is.
That surprised me. But what is your guilty pleasure?
Nickelodeon.
What show?
Every show.
Oh, you're saying Drake and Josh? That's like my Nickelodeon guilty pleasure.
I love everything Nickelodeon. I can literally put it on and just sort of like go through my day with it on in the background. Guilty pleasure.
And then just anything else you'd like to add?
This is our 11th year on Warped Tour, and I think that it's a very cool thing to do because of, we'll go back to what we're talking about with music and sort of like the differences that are around, and it's cool to be able to share the same festival with bands that are so much heavier than Less Than Jake, but still have people who are showing up that like those bands coming over to check out the set and being into it as well. It's kind of cool. It's cool that it's the band's starting to become generational, where you see like 13 to 35 at our shows, and you know, it makes me thankful to be able to have that. So that's it.
Well, thank you very much.
Awesome.